How to meet every challenge. Oftentimes I'm described as an optimistic guy, or just a positive guy, or just happy-go-lucky, or he's just always happy, he's always smiley, he's just like that. And it's kind of interesting because I wouldn't necessarily call myself an optimistic or a positive or a purely happy-go-lucky guy. I would call myself very much a realist, and realizing that if I don't meet the challenge with the right attitude in the right way, then I am denying the integrity of my heart and my soul. I'm actually thinning out the power and potential that I have to overcome. I'm actually saying, you know what, to all those people that have invested in me, all those people in my life now, all those people that have passed away, that what you invested doesn't matter. So it's not from this optimistic, happy-go-lucky, no, I don't want to hear that, I can't, no, I hear it all. You can give me all the information. I prefer not to jump into a whole bunch of apathy and negativity because I'm looking to produce, I'm looking to create, I'm looking to change and be a part of the spiritual revolution. So I don't really want to dive into a lot of that stuff. But it doesn't mean that I don't know what's going on. It doesn't mean that I don't see a lot of the chaos. I look at life as both chaos and peace. There's times of peace, there's times of chaos. And what you have to do in both of those times is you have to meet them with action. You have to meet them with movement. And for me, when things happen, I don't know, maybe because of a life of overcoming some trauma or many nearly near-death experiences and things like that, maybe I've just got built-in resilience skills. I don't know what it is, but I know that every time that there is a big shift or a big change or a big new challenge, I very often jump in to action, jump forth to meet it, rather than sit, conversate, chat, complain, yarn, go through the paces. I just don't see, that has never served me. Now, if we're talking about strategy of how to overcome said challenge, if we're talking about how we can, maybe collaborate, how we can work together, for sure. But to just sit there and talk about it's that thing that I heard a brilliant coach say a couple of weeks ago. What you focus on expands. And so for me, I just meet it. And that's where I get kind of confused as people confuse you as just optimistic. And it's not necessarily the case. It's not that I'm an optimistic, positive guy. It's just that I hear, I see, I realize, and I go and I act. And that's what I've built in. I've built in that muscle. And I know that if I act, I would rather go out moving forward than retreating. And that's an obligation, not just to this planet, not just to the physical state that we're all in. It's an obligation to my spirit, to my soul. It's an obligation to my heart. It's an obligation to everyone and everything that has been invested in me, to not coattail and run away when the challenge comes forth. So that's just me sharing something with you. It's quite often that I get mistaken for just optimistic, just happy-go-lucky. And maybe people see that because they see that I jump straight forward into action. I jump into how can we solve this? How can we fix this? How can we make the best outcome in the situation? And that can get mistaken for he's just optimistic, he's just happy-go-lucky. No, I know the real problems that are facing me. I know that if I don't act, the said problem, the said situation becomes 10 times worse. And that's all it is. The problem meets you and you figure out a way. And the quicker that you can find a way, figure out a way, the less pain the problem will cause you. And that is the point of this daily dose, guys. Hope you enjoyed that one. Share it around with anyone else who thinks that maybe you can't be optimistic or can't be positive, can't be happy-go-lucky in these times. I don't know, maybe you can't. But you know what you can do? You can act. You can move forth. All these noises, all these utterances, all this drama going on, instead of getting lost in that, I see it, I acknowledge it, and I move forth into whatever the next project is, whatever the next thing is, whatever the next obstacle I need to overcome. The conquering of my own self. You know, how am I going to conquer my own behaviors? Big thing like COVID hits and then all of a sudden, okay, great. My routine's out of whack. This is out of whack. That's out of whack. The restriction here, restriction there, restriction here. Okay, great. I'm restricted. What do I do? How many of us had our daily routines knocked out? I had a health situation and I actually created a daily routine that was better than I ever had. Now, what happens to me and what I find happens to me is as soon as I start getting success or I start seeing a lot of success, that's when the couch looks a bit nice. That's when the relaxing looks a bit nice. That's when I'll just take it easy looks a little bit nice. And I hear, yeah, you're working hard. That's pure evil to me. So I'm like, no, wait a minute. I'm about to get to that next level. I've got to keep this body fit. I've got to keep this health. I've got to keep everything. I've got to keep the heart pumping. The heart's showing up, pumping for me. I've got to keep pumping for it. And those little other instances, that's evil. So for me, whenever I get a bit too comfortable, that's when I need to jolt back into action. Okay? So find out what it is for you. When and where are the moments that you need to jolt back into action? For a lot of people, they would already had set up an incredible routine. They would have had to set up a credible life or a credible future. And then something like COVID came in and knocked them out of place, or something like, this, or interest, or whatever the things are that knocked you out of place. How do you then go and conquer your own environment, your personal environment, your house? How do you make sure everything's under control? How do you look after your own environment so that you can actually expand and extend out to the universe with that power of action taking, of taking control, of taking authority and deciding your own destiny? That's the question I pose to you. Hope you enjoyed this video. Share it around with anyone else you feel who would appreciate this. And as always, guys, remember, decide your destiny. Cheers.
How did we get so small? Thinking back at those good old days.